Hello everybody, Marc Thomas here from Marc Thomas Creations, and this is the video tutorial on how to make these cows. Now this specific cow is made with size 6 super bulky yarn. I made it this way because it's winter time. It's very cold outside and this will keep you very warm. I like the completed look of it. I have my hand on the inside, you cannot see through it. Pushing on it, you still cannot see my hand through this. Now this cow right here has a crocheted edge going around it. And don't worry, I'll show you how to do that as well. If you don't like the crocheted edge, I will also be showing you how to do the tassels that I put on some of my cows as well. Now, in order to make this specific cow, the yarn that you're going to need is Stitch Studio by Nicole Bell. This is a size 6 super bulky yarn. And the color is Summer Storm. This yarn is purchased at AC Moore, which I believe you can only get in the United States. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I live in New Jersey, so there's an AC Moore right down the street, and that's where I bought this yarn. Along with that, you're going to need the crocheted edge. The crocheted edge is in black, so here's some black yarn. This is size 5 bulky yarn. It's Loops and Threads Charisma. They sell it at Michael's only. You don't have to use this specific yarn. This is just what I'm using to show you. You're also going to need a pair of scissors. A crochet hook. This is US size K. This is Susan Bates hook. If you don't know how to crochet, that's okay. I will be showing you exactly what to do in order to make that edge. You're also going to need a loom. This is a 1/2 inch gauge loom, 36 pegs, it's 18 on each side, and I believe I purchased this at Michael's as well. You're going to need a loom hook. Most loom hooks look like this, or the ones with the colored grip on it. Mine don't look like that. Mine looks like this. It is just a standard loom hook. It's custom made specifically for me out of acrylic. That's the one that I use. You are also going to need a needle. And you're going to use that to sew the edges. Now, with that being said, you have everything that you need. Let's go ahead and get started. Move this stuff off to the side. Alright, so now to do the cast on, find the center of your yarn, make sure that you pull it out of your yarn skein. Now all I do is I make a slip knot, and I do that by going around my fingers, holding the end with my thumb, take the other end, push it up through, grab it, grab the tail and the end that you were just working with, and give it a nice pull. That will give you a slip knot. Now you put that on the very first peg of the loom. Pull it tight, but not too tight, because you're going to have to get it off at some point. Take your tail, put it in the middle of your loom. Now the figure 8 stitch is the one that I use for all of my cows, and it goes like this. You go in between these two, around to the next one. Same thing, around. Now you're going to go all the way down the whole loom. You're going to use every single peg other than these side pegs here. You got to wrap every peg. If you don't, it's going to look something like this. This will mess you up, and it will show in your finished product. So you got to be careful, go the speed that you're comfortable with. If you got to pause the video and go back, rewind, then that's fine. I'm having a little issue here. I'm going to wrap every single peg tight, but not super tight, because I want to be able to pull these over top of the next row. So I'm going to go all the way down. You can see how the yarn is changing colors as we go. It does the pulling all by itself. The pulling is the design that is on the cowl as you look at it. So once I've wrapped every peg, I go to the very end one and I anchor it. Just like that. Now I have one whole row of figure 8 stitch. Now what you're going to do is you're going to push it down, and do the same thing in reverse, starting at the top and moving to the bottom and anchoring off here. And just do that real quick. Now this is the speed that I go. This is not the speed that you have to go. Go as slow or as fast as you possibly can. Just as long as that you don't mess anything up, then you should be fine. And as you see, as I'm going, the yarn, it just changes colors all by itself to create that pattern that is on the cowl. Go all the way to the end, to the very last peg. Anchor off. Now you have 2 rows of yarn. Now what you're going to do is you're going to start at the beginning here. So you have 2 rows. You're going to take the bottom one, pull it up over top of the top one. Make sure that you don't pull this top one off as you're doing it. So you got to be pretty careful. If you're not new to loom knitting, then you know exactly how to do it. If you are, just be careful that you don't pull these off. Now you're going to do this whole side of the loom and then move to the next side. I'm trying to go as slow as I can. That way any beginners out there can keep up. Like I said, if you're faster than this, then go ahead. If you're slower than this, then go ahead and pause the video and catch up. Now once I've done all of this side, you can see that they've all moved to the top. There's only things at the top. There's nothing on the bottom anymore. I've already knitted them over top. I'm going to go ahead and flip this around and do this on the other side as well. Start here and very carefully pull this one over. This is our slip knot. That's why you can't make it too tight. And do all of these pegs as well. If you make a mistake, it's fine. If you pull one of the top ones off, that's okay, because most times you'll be able to go down in there, grab it, and put it back on the peg. You're going to go all the way down until there's nothing on the bottom. It's all on the top, and it looks like this. You can see the loops that are looped over top of the other yarn, and it's a figure 8 stitch. You're going to push that down, all of it, and continue. You're going to continue this until you get a scarf the length of about 35 inches, give or take. I make mine at about 35 to 37 inches, somewhere in there. A scarf, which will take you then to the cast off, which I'll show you with some movie magic like that. So continue this until you get to the appropriate length, 35 to 37 inches, somewhere in between there. It doesn't have to be exact. If you're a little bit larger, then you might want to go to 37 as opposed to 35, but you're going to continue doing this until you get to that desired length. Alright everybody, I'm back. So this is the progress so far. I actually have a finished one that I'm going to be using. I just wanted to show you that the yarn does self-pull. It does this design all by itself. I don't do anything special to it in order to get it like this. So I'm going to show you the cast off real quick, and then I'll move over to the larger piece that is 35 inches long, but it looks just like this. So you're going to need your hook. Alright, so as you can see, I'm anchored off on this side. So I'm going to start over here on this end. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one off and put it here. Take it off of the peg, put it on that peg, which gives this peg 2. It has 2 loops on it while the others only have 1. So this one has 2. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the bottom one, pull it over top of the top one, and then place it on this peg. So I'm actually placing it on peg 3. Peg 1, 2, 3, and I'm just going to pull this one right off. So now peg 3 has 2. If I flip it around, you can see. Peg 3 has 2. One black one, one blue one. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go all the way down, pulling the bottom one over top of the top one, placing it on the next peg that has yarn still on it, and then pulling this one off. And I'm going to do that all the way down until the whole project is off of the loom. The farther you go, it actually gets a lot easier. Spin it around so you can see. Bottom, over top, place on the next peg. All the way down.